Yeah.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Fringe. An election has been labeled as fraudulent, I guess, and it's happening in Venezuela right now as things are heating up, and it's actually made its way all the way back to Canada as a result, and I want to get into that in today's video because, boy, things are just going crazy. I'm trying to get everything together as best as I can for you guys in terms of what is actually happening in Venezuela. If you've been living under a rock and you haven't heard, well, of course, we're seeing what happened in France earlier this year, and again with now a rigged election coming forward, being confirmed by even people like Elon Musk who are denouncing the election happening over in Venezuela. Of course, Elon tweeting out major election fraud by Maduro. You can see here Venezuela invents new percentage for election results. Turns out you can have more than 100%. According to local TV, 109% of the votes divided between the candidates went to Maduro. Here we go. He's got 109% of the votes ahead of all the other electees in in the Venezuelan election. So this is clearly, like, when we talk about what happened with Donald Trump and Joe Biden in 2020, I mean, people said, there's no way it was election interference. There's no way it's fraud. There's no way Dominion voting systems did all these things. I mean, we've seen lawyers barred and denounced for assisting Donald Trump in that inquiry for his votes. We've seen votes being pulled out from underneath tables after the polls had closed. Of course, we've got even the pleb chiming in. While every other world leader is denouncing the stolen election in Venezuela, Justin Trudeau is still radio silent over this topic. It should come as no surprise, though. He does admire dictatorships after all. And again, Venezuela now rioting. You're seeing people lighting fires in the streets, destroying property, upset to no extent. And the pleb also showing out a leaked photo from a polling station in Venezuela proves that Maduro lost huge. Whoever leaked this photo here is a hero. The socialists cannot steal it now. I mean, this photo represents everything. This is a polling station. Are you telling me there's no shenanigans going on here in the background? What's happening, what's really funny about the whole thing is that it's made its way back to Canada as Canada urges Venezuela to detail election results. Freeland cites serious concerns. Well, why is Chrystia Freeland citing serious concerns? This is probably going to be Justin Trudeau's next playbook entry in 2025 for Canada. But let's take a look at the article. Canada's calling on Venezuelan authorities to release detailed polling results of its presidential election after autocratic President Nicolas Maduro and his opposition rival both emerged from the contest claiming victory. Maduro, whose tenure since 2013 has been marred by an exodus of 7.7 million people fleeing hyperinflation and social unrest, warned this month of a possible bloodbath if he didn't win the election by a large margin. Well, he won by over 100%, right? After voting ended Sunday, the Electoral Council ran by Maduro loyalists said he had secured 51% of the vote at that time. His chief rival, opposition leader Maria Corina Machado, was ahead in the polls in the lead up to the election, but a month before the vote, officials barred her from holding office because she voiced support for U.S. sanctions on the country. Well, that's questionable. Her successor, Edmundo Gonzalez, picked up where Machado left off and has been campaigning on her platform. He said in the wake of the vote that his team observed overwhelming success in voting tallies. On Monday afternoon, Global Affairs Canada called on Venezuelan authorities to respect the will of the people and to publish detailed results from all polling stations. Again, that's going to raise some concerns for all these people involved. It's insanity. It's how do you say you're guilty without saying you're guilty? Early on Monday, Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland said Ottawa was partnering with like-minded countries on the issue without specifying what that involves. Canada, like many other allies, like many of the world's democracies, has serious concern about the election in Venezuela, and we're working closely to our partners, she told reporter on a press conference in Toronto. It takes real courage to stand up for democracy in the face of an authoritarian regime. Oh, is she talking about Canada or Venezuela? I don't, but here's why I think they're getting involved. I'm going to get into it after the article. It takes real courage. Okay, millions of people in Venezuela have been doing that, she quotes. Freeland was foreign minister when the last presidential election in 2018. The country's parliament disputed the contest's legitimacy and used a constitutional convention to recognize opposition leader Juan Guaidó as president. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. Canada and the United States were among the countries to recognize him, and Maduro ultimately maintained his power. Despite large-scale protests over his administration taking place since 2014, he said he enjoys popular support that foreign governments have failed to undermine. Venezuela sits atop the world's largest oil reserves. That's important to note, and once boasted Latin America's most advanced economy. After Maduro took the helm, it tumbled into a free-fall market by plummeting oil prices, widespread shortages of basic goods, and hyperinflation of 130,000%. The report by the Canadian Press was first published on July 29th. Here's why I think the Canadian government's getting involved. First off, they have oil. Second of all, I think they're taking notes. If you look at the United States and Canada getting involved in this, well, both of them have elections coming up. Both of them have very crucial, I should add, elections coming up. And are probably just going to be taking notes. I mean, you can see it here in Venezuela. Here, pictures of Maduro. Looks like the actions of those look like the actions of people who voted 109% for him to get in. As we see here posted on Twitter, breaking El Salvador, President Nayib Bukele issues statement saying that they will not recognize the fraudulent election results from Maduro's socialist Venezuela. What we saw yesterday in Venezuela was no other name than fraud. An election, in quotes, where the official result has no relation to reality. Something obvious to anyone. We broke diplomatic relations with Maduro 4 years ago. We will not reopen them until the people can elect their leaders in real elections. Again, is this what we're going to continue seeing around the world? People have been saying that this is what's going to happen in the United States. This is what happened in the United States, and this is what's going to happen in Canada and all other nations around the world in order to move forward agendas like the World Economic Forum, I guess. But when you see these things, does it not seem that far-fetched from reality? When you talk about conspiracies, when you talk about putting on that old tinfoil hat, I mean, they're caught red-handed. They've just showed you how the pizza's made, so to speak. Of course, you see the same tweet coming out from the same account, breaking: government of Argentina, Costa Rica, Ecuador, Guatemala, Panama, Paraguay, Peru, the Dominican Republic, Uruguay, etc. will request an emergency meeting of OAS Permanent Council to issue a resolution on Maduro's fraudulent election in Venezuela. It's just insane, ladies and gentlemen. It's absolute insanity what's going on. Again, if you're going to rig an election, you should probably do it by a thin margin. You should do it in ways that really don't leave a paper trail for people to point the finger and legitimately point out what you're going to label as a conspiracy theory. Essentially, what happened here is somebody dropped the ball, I'm guessing in that center where the polling station picture was taken from, where people put in false numbers to the extreme in order to expose what was going on. But whoever exposed it, kudos to them, because it's going to say a lot about our elections moving forward. And whatever happens in Venezuela, ladies and gentlemen, I will be keeping you up to date on that as well as we move forward. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Are you surprised to see a rigged election, especially in a tyrannical dictatorship like Venezuela? Let me know what you think down below. If it's your first time here, I hope this video has earned your subscription. Make sure as you're hitting that button, you turn on your bell for notifications. Join me live here on the channel each and every Friday night for Friday Night Fringe, where we go over a little bit of what's happened in politics in this current week, a little bit of what we know that's coming up in the week ahead, and some back and forth within our community. It's always great to hear what you guys have to say outside of making these videos, and I look forward to hearing each and every one of you this upcoming Friday here on the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.